In today's session, we are seeing the USDJPY hovering closer to 109 level, and it looks like that the breakout, which I talked about in the yesterday's session, possible breakout on the lower side below 108.5, is not likely to happen. So, in these changing circumstances, we will be looking at the trading opportunities and also how the market is shaping up in today's US session. So let's get started. If we consider the data docket for the day, earlier in the day we had some releases coming in from the Germany. We also had the final GDP numbers for the Germany, which has confirmed that the first quarter was pretty bad for the Germany, and it was seeing its GDP go down. Its GDP actually declined in the first quarter, but second quarter is expected to be a lot better. And now that we are in the month of May, the situation has changed and improved a lot, and that is being reflected in the IFO business climate indicator, which we got earlier in the day. And for the month of May, it has risen to 99.2 from the prior month's reading of 96.6. So that's a fair amount of improvement in the business situation, and and more people are feeling confident. And as a result of that, the businesses are showing the willingness to start their operations, and we are seeing that the IFO expectations have also improved in this month, and also the people's assessment of the current business conditions is also better at 95.7. Similar data points can also be seen for the US. We got the consumer confidence number, CB consumer confidence, for the month of May, and it is showing that the consumer confidence remains high. It is slightly lower, but not much. It is at 117.2 compared to the prior month's reading of 117.5. But historically speaking, this is quite high, and people are feeling quite confident. And US is one of the country which is coming out of the pandemic quite strong, and that is reflected in this reading. We also got the housing numbers. We got house price index and new home sales numbers for the month of April. The house price index was for the month of March, and the house prices have gone higher, and the housing market in US is quite red hot these days, and the prices are quite high, and that is evident from these numbers which we got earlier in the day. The new home sales in terms of month on month are showing moderation and actually have gone lower by 5.9%. But if we look at the last couple of months data, the home sales have been quite strong. So this month's slight decline shouldn't be read into as a some negative development. Now let's shift our attention to the technical aspect. First, we will consider the USDJPY, and afterwards we will also consider the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which is seeing some correction on the higher side, and we will see what are the trading opportunities, if any, in both of these financial instruments. Let's start with the USDJPY technical outlook. The breakout, which I had talked about in yesterday's session, as I said in my opening remark, is looking distant by the start of US session, and we have these quite strong base formation taking place above 108.5, and now the USDJPY has also rebounded closer to 109. It at one point in time it had gone above that, but again after that it saw some correction, and right now it is hovering closer to 108.9. And I think if in today's session we see it closing above these prior swing lows and holding anywhere closer to 109, the outlook is likely to change, and as and when we will see a fresh breakout above 109, I think in due course of time we can see it rising closer to these prior swing highs, which are closer to 109.75. So if we get the breakout above 109, then the outlook is going to change and we will have to prepare the trade setups accordingly. So if we consider the lower time frame charting, the technical formation is not quite bullish as of now, and we will need the USDJPY to show some bullish momentum before we can be confident at saying that now the trend change is here for the USDJPY. For last couple of weeks, the USDJPY has been trading sideways, and on the lower side, it has found the support closer to 108.5, and this time around also it failed to see a breakout on the lower side, and that is giving me some confidence that we can look for some scalping opportunities and try to go for buy trade now, even though the current price action is not really above the central pivot point, but looking at its current price trajectory, I think it is trading in the range, and on the lower side, the base is there, and on the higher side, the resistance is there. So in between, we can look for trade. Whenever it is closer to the support area, we can look for buy trade, and as and when it will go closer to the resistance zone, we can think about getting out of that trade. So that's my assessment in a current scenario for USD JPY. Technically speaking, it is a bit confusing. We don't really have a clear-cut trending scenario in USD JPY. It can't be said that it is bullish or changing into bullish trajectory, but the support is there, and that's what we are counting on. So if you want to look for trade opportunities, the convergence of 50 and 100 SMA should be kept in mind, and this is the immediate marker for the USD JPY. So it will be important for the USD JPY to hold above or closer to this convergence of 50 and 100 SMA. And after due consolidation, we can think about getting involved anywhere in the price band of 108.8 to 108.9 as and when we see the momentum again showing the upward signs, and as and when we see the price momentum picking up, USD JPY starts to climb, that will be the time to initiate the new long trade while keeping the stop loss closer to these support today's low. The low is not really close. It is now current. If you consider the current pricing, it is around 30 pips on the lower side. So as a result of that, to make sure that we are not taking too much of a risk, I would say that allow some correction to take place in USD JPY, and also we will allow it to consolidate. So today's session is now most totally washed out. We will have to wait, and by the time we come back for Asian trading session, or for that matter European trading session, I think we will have a much clearer picture, and also the opportunities to go long in the USD JPY with the possibility of a break above these 200 SMA, and that's what we are counting on. So the risk reward ratio works out quite well for a risk of around 20-25 pips. On the higher side, we can expect a move closer to 50 pips as the near term resistance, the immediate resistance prior swing high is closer to 109.3. So at the minimum, that's the price range which we can target in the USD JPY long trade. Now, let's see what's happening in the equity segment with the Dow Jones Industrial Average technical outlook. The Dow has been showing the bullish momentum, and in today's session, it is hovering closer to the 34,500 mark. In last couple of sessions, it climbed all the way from 33,500 to 34,500. So if in today's session we are not really seeing strong momentum, it might be just trading sideways after a strong rally over last three trading session. So in today's session, the outlook is still bullish, but of course we will have to be a bit cautious, and I will be pointing out some key levels which we can keep in mind as and when the trading opportunities are going to offer themselves. And by the by the words offer themselves. I mean that we should wait, we should not hurry, and only if we see that the conditions are optimum enough, if the risk reward ratio is good enough, only then we should get involved. Otherwise, it's always a better idea to simply sit on the sidelines and observe what's unfolding in front of our eyes. Now, looking at the lower time frame charting, we get the sense that some resistance is there closer to this first resistance of this month's pivot point series. This is where the the US index, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, had declined last time around, and now also it is struggling after getting close to this level. So I can't really rule out a correction from the current levels closer to these prior consolidation lows. I think as long as it is able to hold about 34,000, we can be quite confident of the continuation of the move on the higher side. So here the buy on dip strategy can be adopted. Looking at its current price trajectory, I would not really recommend going in for the long trade straight away. But if you are willing to wait, the pricing closer to 34,000 or above that can be expected. Some correction is likely to happen given the fact that it has struggled to cross and hold above these first resistance, and as a result of that, some correction can't be ruled out. And the regression curve has also flattened as the price action has traded sideways, and in next couple of sessions we can expect the inclination to steepen depending on the price action, but for that we will of course need the low to lead higher, or if it fails to do that, at least it should lead lower, and only after that we will have a clear cut breakout. For the time being, for today's session, the possibility is there for scalping trade. If you are going for a sharp stop loss take profit setup, then some trade can be taken with the entry closer to the immediate high, swing high, closer to 34,500. But the target doesn't really work out that wide. I think if we see a dip towards 34,300 or even closer to 34,200, that will be quite a good if you are willing to take the risk of around 70 80 points on the higher side. The stop loss can be kept closer to or above the immediate high, the high formed in the first hour of today's US session, and some correction is going to open up the vista or windows for us for going for a swing trade, as and when we will see the correction taking place, and the Dow getting closer to this convergence of 100 and 200 SMA. That will be a better opportunity to go long. So rather than going for the long trade straight away, I would say that we should wait it out. If you are not really uh, looking for the big trade here, swing trade here in today's session, then I think better opportunities are likely to arise after a due correction. So in today's session, there is no longer term trade here, but some scalping kind of trades can be taken with bias in intraday remaining on the bearish side unless and until we see any fresh breakout above the day's high. So the Dow is likely to trade sideways with a bit of bearishness in today's session, and as and when we will have it closer to the support area after due consolidation, I think that will be the time to look for a swing trade with the target closer to the 35,000 mark. So that's it from my side for today's session. If you have any query or any idea to share, you can write to me in the feedback section, and I would be more than happy to take the discussion forward. Before I sign off, I would also like to remind of the risk associated with trading in the financial instrument, and one should be careful while using the information provided. Have a fabulous day ahead. Do subscribe to the Radioscopy webinar channel to stay updated on the market developments. Thank you all for joining in. Goodbye.